exciting episode of the Functional Longevity Podcast, where we give you insight on how to get fit, feel younger, live better. Hi, I'm your host, Chris Porter, best-selling author and owner of Y.E.S Fitness. Let me first thank you for taking time from your busy day to listen to what I have to say. I don't take that lightly. I hope you find today's information extremely interesting. But before we go any further, let me also thank our sponsor, Y.E.S Fitness. Most people lose the ability to enjoy life as they age. At Y.E.S Fitness, we help people age 40 plus get fit so they can live longer and enjoy those extra years doing the things they love to do. Some real quick housekeeping here. If you want to get a timestamp or a transcript of today's broadcast, head on over to yesfitnessct.com. Scroll across the top, you'll see buttons for podcasts. Click on that drop down and you'll have access to any one of our now 350 episodes. You can also get this broadcast wherever podcasts can be found. Want the most powerful anti-aging exercise you've never heard about? So last week I was at a mastermind, and on my way home, I was listening to a podcast. One of my friends, Jordan, recommended it, thought I would find it very interesting, and I did. See, we're always trying to learn, always trying to improve. That is one of our core values. So that's why today we're going to take a look into something that's often overlooked, but could make a massive difference in how you age, how you move, and how vibrant you feel every single day. We are talking about skipping. Yes, you heard that right, skipping. Not just for kids on the playground. It's one of the most underrated, underused, and misunderstood movement patterns out there. But if you want to live longer and live stronger, skipping should be part of your fitness tool. I had never thought about this before, but it makes sense. And I skip every time I work out because I work on speed, but it's more than just a speed tool. This is a tool for longevity. Now, before you roll your eyes or hit next, let me introduce the key idea that inspired today's episode. Something that comes from one of the world's best sprint coaches, Stuart McMillan. Stuart's worked with Olympic gold medalists and world-class athletes, and one of his biggest philosophies is this: everyone should skip. Everyone should skip. And not just athletes, especially adults, especially if you care about keeping your body young, your heart strong, and your brain sharp. So today we're going to break it down for you. Why is skipping so powerful, especially as we age? Why do we need to get your knees behind your hip when you move? The connection between sprinting, VO2 max, and longevity. And how to safely add these movements into your life, even if it's been decades since you skipped down a walkway. Here's the skipping secret. Why Stuart McMillan says you need it, and I completely agree with him. Let's start with Stuart's. Who is this guy? He has coached more than 70 Olympians. He's obsessed with movement quality and what it takes to make athletes faster. We're all athletes. We may not think we're athletes, but we are all athletes. But one of the drills he swears by, especially for teaching sprint mechanics, is skipping. Why? Because skipping teaches coordination. It teaches rhythm. It reinforces the natural elastic bounce we lose as we age. It's a foundational movement pattern that reconnects the brain and body. It reintroduces lightness into the way we move. Here's the kicker. Most adults never skip after childhood, and we lose that spring. We get stiff. We shuffle. We walk like we're stuck in molasses. But if you want to age with power and grace, we talk about power all the time, fast twitch muscle powers. If you want to avoid falls, keep your brain sharp, and move like a younger version of yourself, you've got to reclaim that bounce. When we work with athletes, we always talk about the bounce. We want to see some bounce in our athletes, and we know they're powerful. You should be powerful as well as you age. Skipping is like a built-in plyometric. It's gentle enough for beginners, but powerful enough to challenge your neuromuscular system. It forces you to produce force, absorb force, and coordinate the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And here's something most people don't realize. Coordination is a use it or lose it skill. As we age, losing coordination is one of the big drivers in falls, slower walking speed, and reduced independence. That's why we work on skipping all the time at Y.E.S Fitness. It's interesting how we'll put skip right in part of our warm up, our ramp. And when people haven't done it in a while, new clients, it's interesting to see how uncoordinated they are. But after a while, they start to pick up the pattern again. Now we skip all the time. And I didn't think about skipping as much for some of the reasons we're talking about today, but we use it as a warm up. We use it for some coordination, and we certainly used it for some plyometric work to develop power and impact for bone density. So, what is the hidden power of getting your knee behind your hip? Something that I had not thought about with the power of skipping. So, let's talk about mechanics. One of the most important things Stuart McMillan teaches, something you see in every fast, efficient athlete, is this: the ability to get your knee behind your hip when you sprint or skip. So you're probably saying, why does it matter? What does it matter to me that I need to get my knee behind my hip? When we walk or run, most people just shuffle forward. Their leg never fully extends behind them. The glutes, your backsides, the ones you sit on, the strongest muscles in your body aren't firing. The hip flexors stay tight. That's the front of your hips. The stride stays short. Over time, we literally forget how to extend the hip. And when that happens, we lose power, we lose posture, we lose speed. Getting knee behind the hip does a few critical things. It activates your glutes. It turns on your glutes. We see people all the time come into the gym to exercise and work out, and we need to teach their glutes or their butt to turn on to work again. Because when it's not working, other muscles do the work of the glutes, and it messes up the body. Stretches and strengthens the hip flexors. Those hip flexors get tight all day from us sitting in a car, sitting at our desk, things like that. This will just help strengthen and stretch those hip flexors so that we don't get an anterior pelvic tilt. We don't get that real arch in our back, so we don't create low back problems. It improves gait and walking mechanics. As we see people get older, they start to shuffle. We don't want to be a shuffler. And it reduces the risk of back and knee pain. If you can't get that leg behind you, your movement becomes all quad, all hip flexor, all compensation. That's a recipe for injury, poor posture, and limited mobility. Anytime the body's compensating, that's a bad recipe. Skipping, especially with intention, so really being intentional about your skip, forces that full range of motion. So not just a little baby skip. Let's get those arms swinging up as you get better at it. Get some real power and pop off the ground. It rewires the nervous system to move like we were designed to move, powerfully, rhythmically, elastically. So what is this link here between sprinting, skipping, longevity, VO2 max? It all comes together here. So we're going to shift our gears to the bigger picture: your heart, your lungs, your lifespan. One of the strongest predictors of longevity is something called VO2 max, the maximum amount of oxygen your body can use during intense exercise. The higher your VO2 max, the better your cardiorespiratory fitness. And here's the game changer. VO2 max is one of the best biomarkers we have for predicting all-cause mortality. Again, VO2 max is one of the best biomarkers we have for predicting all-cause mortality. In other words, the better your VO2 max, the longer and more vibrant you will likely live. Now, You don't need to train like a marathon runner, but you do need to elevate your heart rate. We talk about interval training, using heart rate monitors, things like that. This is even simpler if that's what you need. You need to breathe hard. You need to challenge your cardiovascular system. Skipping and sprinting are two of the best ways to do this, especially in short bursts. They give you the benefits of high intensity interval training, some HIIT training, without long, boring sessions on a treadmill. In fact, just 30 to 60 seconds of skipping, followed by a short recovery, can be enough to boost your heart rate, improve oxygen uptake, and stimulate the adaptation that increases VO2 max. It's interesting, the other day when I got home from the mastermind, my wife and I took a walk, and summertime, she typically picks it up a little bit. She has a little bit more time. She'll start to jog um, around the park in town here. And I said, okay, let's do this. Instead of you jogging, we went for a walk. I want you to skip from here to there. It was probably maybe 40 yards. She skipped, and I coached her to skip harder, skip higher. And by the end of that period, it probably was about 25, maybe 30 seconds. Her heart rate was up. She was breathing heavy. And I told her, you need to do this when you're out walking this summer. Don't so worry about jogging. Let's do this instead. Let's do this 10 times while you're walking around the park. She says, you're crazy. I'm not going to skip as I walk around the park. People are going to look at me funny. I said, we need to find some time or some place where you can walk where you're willing to skip, because this is what you need to do to improve your VO2 max and improve the likelihood of living a longer, better life. So it was a very interesting little quick case study with that with her. I never noticed because I do skip a lot with my workouts, especially my warm-up and preparing for a speed workout. And I mean, when I skip long enough for enough times to get my heart rate up that much. But it's unlike any form of cardio. Skipping also loads the bones. That's huge win for anyone worried about osteoporosis, especially women in midlife and beyond. But I'm sure I'm saying, like, Chris, what if I can't skip? I hear this sometimes when we do it in class. Chris, I haven't skipped since grade school. I've got bad knees. Chris, I don't want to look like a fool. Listen, I get it. You don't have to launch into full skipping drills tomorrow. This is about progressions like everything else, not perfection. So here's how we approach it safely at Y.E.S Fitness. You'd want to march first. Start with high knees marching in place. Focus on your posture, driving your arms. Give that knee up and push that foot into the ground with intention. Now you might want to like bound a little bit or hop next. Once you start and feel confident with your march, try adding this little bounce, a light bounce, a hop. Think prancing more than full skipping. And then three, try to skip in place. Practice skipping without going forward. Stay in one spot, alternate legs with rhythm and control. And then finally, you can skip for distance. You're ready. Skip forward. Start 5 to 10 yards. Focus on form, not speed. Again, it's a progression. And remember, this isn't about looking cool. Can't be afraid. It's about moving and feeling well, feeling younger, reclaiming your athleticism, rebuilding the confidence that your body can do hard things. We have to do hard things. Don't worry about what other people think. People might look at you and they might ask you questions. Why are you doing this? And hopefully they do. You're not going to look funny. You're going to find that you're actually going to feel better and move better. So my final thoughts skipping into the future. Here's the bottom line. Skipping reintroduces coordination, rhythm, and bounce. Power, right? So important in our aging process. We do not want to lose power. It teaches your body to move with intention and elasticity. It reinforces sprint mechanics, glute activation, and hip extension. I mean, sprinting is so good for your body. It's so good for you, but most of us aren't going to sprint. As we age, we haven't sprinted probably in our 20s, maybe we haven't sprinted since our teens, but it's so important for improving VO2 max and that hip extension and bone density. So good. I'm not asking you to sprint. I don't expect you to sprint, but if you can start skipping, that would be ideal. Remember, it's going to elevate your heart rate, boost your VO2 max, a key predictor for how long and how well you live. And most importantly, it can be fun. It's something joyful, playful, brings you back to your youth, energizes you about skipping. It reminds you that your body is more than just a machine. It's a miracle. So this week, give it a try. Just once. Maybe in your basement, your garage, your backyard, in a hallway. Reconnect with your inner child. Wake up the muscle patterns that time has buried. You might be surprised how good it feels. And if you're a little sore the next day, that's okay. Take it easy though. Don't go too hard too fast. That's just your body saying, hey, thanks for remembering me. If you do skip, leave me a message. Give me a call. I'd really like to know how it goes. So that's it for today's episode of the Functional Longevity Podcast. If you found this helpful, or if you're ready to start skipping into a stronger, longer life, shoot me a message. Leave me a review. I'd love to hear from you. If you need any help with it, certainly swing by the studio. I'll give you a hand. And if you're not local in Burlington, Connecticut, if you are local, pardon me, in Burlington, Connecticut, come stop by and see us, Y.E.S Fitness. We can help you skip, sprint, smile your way into the next chapter of life. So stay strong, stay young, and keep moving. Until next time, well, I'm going to give you more information on how to get fit, feel younger, live better. This is Chris Porter signing off for today. Have a great week.